Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rob King, and I'm your host today at today's RPA Academy webinar. Today's topic is how to pass the Blue Prism Certification Exam, and I'll be introducing our panel of experts very shortly. Just to kick off, a quick introduction to the RPA Academy. The RPA Academy provide technical training and business training in all types of RPA products. We do on-demand, classroom, and instructor-led online training that can be tailored to your specific needs or to the certification exams, which brings us neatly around to our topic today. To kick off, I'm going to introduce our panel. Our first member of the panel is Azim. Azim, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Hi, everyone. My name is Azim, and I have been doing RPA for just over 2.5 years now. I've got experience in retail mainly, and now working for a leading IT consultancy. So experienced in UiPath and Blue Prism, and I'm a certified Blue Prism and UiPath developer, being a professional certified developer in Blue Prism. And I'm an instructor here at the RPA Academy as well. And yeah, looking forward to this session.
Thank you, Azim. Our second panelist today is Arun. Arun, would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hey guys, my name is Arun, and I have little over 8 years of experience, and in RPA I have over 2.5 years and close to 3 years, and I'm a certified Blue Prism developer and solution designer. And yeah, welcome to the today's session.
Thank you, guys. Our third panelist unfortunately can't make it today. Talang has had some technical difficulties in joining the call, but we're okay. We've got her elements covered. But thank you to Talang, who would have been also one of our expert panelists today. Our panel is quite an international panel. We've got Arun contacting us from Toronto, I believe, and Azim is contacting us from just up the road from me in Birmingham in the UK. So to kick off the course, to kick off today's webinar, we're going to start with how do you actually sign up and get started for the Blue Prism exam. And for this, I'm going to hand over the control to Azim, who's going to walk you through these steps.
Thank you very much, Rob. Let me know when you can see my screen.
All good?
Perfect. Thanks. So yeah, the first thing that I'd like to cover is the Blue Prism portal. So if you've begun your journey with RPA or Blue Prism specifically, the first thing I would definitely suggest that you do is go to portal.blueprism.com. And this is something that I recommend anyone that wants to get involved with Blue Prism. First, create an account. You don't need to be part of a company that's a partner with Blue Prism or is paid for Blue Prism license and things like that. You can just sign up as an individual, and then you'll be able to have access to Blue Prism. Obviously, there are different levels of access within the portal, and that would depend on who you work for and whether you are a private kind of person that's signed up, or you know, if your company is a partner or something like that. So this is my portal. I'm already logged in, and these are the things that I have access of. What you will notice is if you know the company you work for doesn't have certain access, you won't be able to see certain things here. But you know, I will cover things that you can see and the things that you can do before you know, having the full access to it. So you will see the forums. You just won't have certain functionality within the forums, but nonetheless, still very helpful place to go, because you can kind of, you know, have a look at the questions and answers on there, which is something that you know, other vendors have as well. So very helpful, even if you're just reading, educating yourself with RPA, quite important. And obviously this section here, current releases and things like that, that would be if you have that level of access. So you may not see all of that. And then you've got the document section. This is the most important section in your RPA journey or your Blue Prism journey. Blue Prism are quite good in their documentation, and they provide you with all the documents that you need to learn Blue Prism to a certain extent, as I'll mention in a moment, and basically be able to get some assistance when it comes to doing some type of development with certain special software like mainframe and things like that. And then obviously the support, again, it depends on your level of access, learning. And when you sign up to the Blue Prism portal, you will also have access to this LMS. Okay, now the courses within Blue Prism, okay, not sure what's happening there. Let me try that. Looks like a Blue Prism LMS is broken. Right, so the LMS basically is supposed to give you a nice overview of your profile and things you've done. I mean, these courses here, they are the courses that you will get to enroll for free. There isn't a lot there, unfortunately, but it's still something at the end of the day. And you can kind of go into here and you'll be able to see all the different things. Now, whenever you do any courses and you pass any exams, previously what used to happen, you would come into here, go to external training, and then you would see your the course that you passed in here. As you can see, I did my Blue Prism developer exam in May last year, and it's come up here. So that's what you used to be able to do, and then you would download a certificate from here. But now they have replaced with the badges, which is something you've probably all seen. So Blue Prism has stopped doing certificates, and they now issue badges through Acclaim instead. So you won't get a certificate anymore from them, and you get a badge instead. So that's a very, very brief summary of the portal, and I'll go more in detail on the next topic that I'll cover as to how you prepare for your exam using the information on the portal. Hopefully, so good so far. The next important thing that you need to do is to sign yourself up with Person View. Now, Person View, I'm sure you guys are aware of. They're an independent kind of company, and Blue Prism use them to kind of leverage their exam centers so that you can go and take your Blue Prism exam there. Now, this is my way of finding the Blue Prism Person View. You guys will probably laugh, but what I normally do is just Blue Prism and then Person View. Because I'm not going to go to Person View and search the Blue Prism. I just use Google. Google's your friend, or Bing in this instance. And then you'll get to the link, hopefully. I don't know why this keeps happening, but it makes me load things twice every time. Let's try that. Okay, so this is what will happen. And it seems that the link might have changed or something like that, because it keeps giving me that error. But here you go. This is where you want to be. So you want to be into Person View, and in here it will list all of the different certifications that you can sign up for Blue Prism. So this is the only way to sign up for official Blue Prism exams. So once you've done your foundation course, which is something we offer in the RPA Academy, when you're ready, you kind of go into here to book your exam, and then you go and take your exam in a Person View center. So obviously the important thing to remember here is that you need to make sure that you have created a Blue Prism account first, and you have a portal account before you go into creating a Person View account, so that it links up. So it'll ask you for your details and then your Blue Prism portal ID. Now, one thing I noticed is when I signed up first time is that I had to wait 24 hours for Person View and Blue Prism to sync up, because I was putting my portal ID in there, it just wasn't having it. So I recommend doing your portal ID right now. There is nothing to lose, so go for it. And after 24 hours, or try and register immediately. Hopefully that works. If it doesn't, wait 24 hours, don't panic, and it should work for you. And this is what the Person View account looks like. So you can see a history of your exams. So as you can see, I've done my 2 exams here. And yeah, really, you need to make sure on your Person View account that you put your legal name. So that's my legal name, okay? And I have an internet name just to make things complicated, but make sure you use your legal information because they verify your ID or your government ID before you can take the exam to make sure the right person is taking the exam. So I'm hoping this gives a bit of an overview on these two things, and there is a lot to see in the portal and everything else. There is the costs for your exam and things like that. So when you're learning, you always go into this section here, which is a great place to start, and you go to certification, and I'll cover this in a moment. So I'm hoping that kind of helps out in answering the question of how you sign up to the portal and how you sign up to person view and things like that. So Rob, I'm hoping I have covered everything. And was there anything else that I need to cover for this topic before I move on to the next one?
No, that was fantastic. Thanks for that. I guess just to our audience, before you continue, is you should be able to ask questions, and we'll pose those questions to our panelists at the end of the session. So if you do have any questions on signing up or any other topics we're going to cover today, then please just push those questions through, and I'll be sure to pose them to our expert panel at the very end of this session. So yes, thank you for that run through. That was terrific, and double thank you because you filled in at the last minute to run that section for us. To your actual section now, which sort of topic number 2, which is getting ready for the exam. What advice do you have for our audience today?
Oh, thank you very much, Rob. So yeah, in regards to getting ready for the exam, so as I've already mentioned, signing up to the portal is the important part of all of this, of your RPA or Blue Prism journey. The next important part is using the information on the portal to getting ready. Now, when we're talking about the exams, I'll specifically be talking about the Blue Prism Foundation or Blue Prism Developer exam, and probably touch a bit on Blue Prism Professional Developer exam as well. Now, the first thing that you need to remember is if you want to be a Blue Prism Developer certified, you won't find the information you need fully on the portal. You would need to take that course, and that's something that we offer here at the RPA Academy, because there is a specific training that you need to go through that Blue Prism provide to the training partners, which the RPA Academy is. So that's very important that you do that, and then you go to the portal to get your peripheral documents in preparation for that. So this section, learning and certification, is a really good section to start. It has got a lot of information here that you need besides the certificate specific information. So like I said, I can't cover all of the courses, so today I'll focus mainly on the Blue Prism Developer exam. So let's say I take the Blue Prism Foundation Developer exam. I would go to the developer certification path actually, and this kind of gives you a very nice overview of what you need to do to get to this exam, and these are your main steps. And as you can see, these things on the left side you can do the practical product training. That's the foundation course. That's your second step in getting ready for your developer certification, and that's something that you can't do yourself through the portal. You have to go through a training partner like the RPA Academy. So if we look specifically at the Blue Prism Developer, so let me just find that here. It gives you, so for every exam that Blue Prism give you, they will give you the information you need, what you need to learn to be able to pass that exam. And as you can see, there is a scope in here, and that covers all of the things that you need to know. If you read this before booking your exam, read this. If you read this and you don't know some of it, please take some more time before you take the exam to make sure you've covered everything. So as you can see, in terms of preparation, you need to successfully complete the developer foundation training. So that is a vital part of this. Sorry, I keep repeating myself, but there is a reason why I say it. that is a crucial part in your RPA journey. Not only will it help you with Blue Prism, but with all the RPA tools, because the way Blue Prism have documented, as you can see, it's pretty neat, and they have done things in a methodical way. So follow the program and you will go into a successful RPA career. Now, the Develop Foundation, obviously, that's not in the portal, but these guides, they are. So after you've done your training, before you prepare for the exam, this one specifically, the exception handling guide, is something that's covered quite a bit, and I'm sure Aruna will touch on this on his section. But if you're looking for a guide, you just take that information from there, go on the document. Sometimes what's written on that guidance document may not match exactly. So what you have to do is just put one word instead. So let's put exception handling guide and just search for it. And as you can see, there is indeed an exception handling guide in here. For some reason, this one is a Spanish one, but yeah, they're constantly changing their documentation and updating it. So it could be that this advanced exception handling guide is part of that. So you see what I've just mentioned about the naming. Don't be too stuck on the exact naming, because there may not be something with the exact name, but that is the document that they mean. So this is how you get your documents and you read. Now, in regard to the professional developer, pretty much the same formula, although there isn't a lot of information on that in regards to the professional developer, but they do give you all of the guides in there. And again, that is why the RPA Academy is here. We come in, and people have done it like myself, would be walking you through the different things that are covered in this exam, because you will have these guides on the portal, but what you won't have is real life experience that is shared with you, and also the different things that you need to remember. Because one of the things that they mentioned quite a bit on the exam is to do with Java, as Aruna will cover. And if you've not really been practicing or been talking about these things, the information won't stick. So that's kind of how you prepare for your exam. In summary, to prepare for your developer exam, you need to make sure you do your foundation course through a training academy like ourselves. And for the developer and other trainings, professional developer and other trainings, there's information there, but I wouldn't recommend that you just go with that. I recommend that you go with that experience, and also, if you can, to one of our courses where we can help you solidify the information before you take your exam. Hopefully this helps you a bit in terms of preparing for the exam. So Rob, I'm hoping that covers it. If there's anything else, please let me know.
Yes, thank you very much. And yes, if there are any questions, please do pass them along, and we'll give them to Azim at the end of this session. I'm going to switch back presenters now, so hopefully you can see back to my screen. And topic number 3, we're going to hand over to Arun to talk about the actual format of the exam. So after you've signed up, you've done your prep, what happens next? And let's just make Arun the presenter. Over to you, Arun.
Yep, thank you, Rob. Can you guys see my screen? All right.
Yep, we can see that.
All right, perfect. So coming to the format of the exam, it's pretty simple. There are going to be 60 questions, and you have exactly 60 minutes. Unless you're from a non-English speaking country, you get extra 30 minutes in that case. The requirement is to get at least 70% marks to clear the exam. So it's important to keep track of your time and not to waste too much time on a single question. For the AD01, which is the developer exam, the first level, you can flag the question, and then you can come back to that later in the exam if you feel like you're not too confident about it. So it's important to keep track of the time and prepare yourself well in advance. So my suggestion would be to go through each chapter and try to understand the concept. There are not going to be straightforward questions right out of the book. Like any other certification exam, your understanding of the subject would be tested here. You will be given questions on a situational basis. Let's say there is a flow depicted in the exam. So you'll be given a flow and asked what would be the result of the flow, or where would the stage end at. So questions would be on that format, and there would be multiple choice questions. So 1 out of 4 might be correct, or they may even ask you to select 2 or 3 options which are true to that particular statement, or a simple true or false statements can also be given. So you have to be prepared for all of these things, and on top of this, you need to pay more attention to the chapters review notes, and as well as the note section which is within each chapter. So you have to pay a little more attention. There may be few questions, maybe a 10 to 15 questions depending on the uh, day that you take. If you're lucky, you can get at least 15 questions out of the book, but rest of them would be testing your examination, your understanding skills. So that's about the format of the exam. And yeah, so does anybody have any questions, or Rob, do you have anything else specifically regards to the format?
Not regarding the format. I'm going to take back control and move on to actually our next topic, which is related to the exam, and really just to ask you all the question: what advice you would give to people who are preparing for the exam? And since Aaron, you were there last, what advice would you give to anyone who's now looking to start?
All right. For anybody who would be ready to take up the exam, I would say they have enough practice, at least 2 to 3 months of practice with the tool, and if not, at least 25 to 30 days, and practice each exercise. And especially, they should be ready to complete the consolidation exercise, which should involve all the exception handling and preparing a release, or seeing the control room logs. Everything should be in place in perfect order. If you have done that in one go, then you're good to take up the exam. So it is going to test right from the start to the end of the foundation course. So it covers almost all the topics, and once you do that consolidation exercise, you should feel confident about yourself, saying that, yeah, I can take up this exam. And I would suggest them to give some good time in trying to understand each concept, rather than keep mugging up what's in the book. So not straightforward questions. Not too many of those are going to come in the exam.
No, thank you. That's some good advice. We've started to get some questions coming through, which I'm going to come back to in a moment. But before we do that, I want to hand back over to Azim. Azim, what advice would you give to anyone who's now preparing for the exam?
Yes, Rob, and pretty much what Aruna said is pretty much my kind of view as well. Don't get bogged down on the theory, because the questions they ask you on the exam don't really test your memory. It does test your knowledge. So make sure you are well-founded and confident. So the first thing I would say is, if you don't feel confident you can pass it, don't bother booking it. There is no rush. Follow the program that Blue Prism have set and stick to it. And if they have said after doing the course, wait 3 to 6 months or practice 3 to 6 months, follow that schedule. There is a reason why it's there, and then you will take the exam and you'll be confident and you'll pass. Even till today, certain things, if you ask me specifically, will escape my memory. I'd have to go into Blue Prism and look, and that's because maybe I don't do that thing very often, and that's the type of thing that could happen to you on the test. Something you don't do very often will come up, and because you don't do it often, or because you haven't had enough practice, you won't remember it and you won't be able to answer, and time is very limited. So make sure that practice makes perfect. Be confident, then take the test.
Good advice. I'm not sure who wants to answer this question, so I'll put it out to both of you. So the first question that we've got is, do any of the questions have negative marking?
No, no questions will be awarded a negative mark. So you're good to select a option and then pray if that's good. But don't worry about selecting a wrong option. So there are no negative marks.
So you're better off taking a guess if you're not sure.
Yeah.
A second question that's come through, and I'm not sure if anybody can sort of do this in the time we've got, but can you show a couple of sample questions to the audience?
Sorry, what was that, Rob? My audio is playing up.
That's quite all right. Do you have a couple of sample questions we could show to the audience that we could put up on screen?
Well, let me try that out while you guys discuss, and let me quickly give a sample question.
That's great, because I've got another question for you, and Azim, this one actually relates to the sort of document that you brought up. So so when you brought up the documents on the screen, it said version 6.2, and I believe the current version 6.4. How frequently are documents updated to sort of keep in line with the current version of the actual software, and how up to date is the exam to keep up to date with the current version of the software?
That's a very good question. Actually, when I was preparing for the professional developer exam, it did say on there that there won't be version 6 specific questions. So the exam has probably not yet been updated to version 6. Although one thing you have to note with Blue Prism, the core concept is the same throughout the versions it's had. But obviously there has been small changes here and there. One of the examples is on version 6, they in the exception handling stage, they added a native function to take screenshots automatically when there is an error. That's not something that was in version 5. And if when the changes are small like that, they don't really overhaul the whole documentation, but they are quite good in version controlling things. So especially when it comes to releases and things that really affect the version. So surface automation was majorly changed on version 6. So they have updated that document. But from version 5 and before that, you won't really see much changes because there wasn't major changes. Version 6 really did bring major changes. So keep an eye for the exam changing. Now, with the RPA Academy being a partner, a training partner, we get up-to-date documentation, and Blue Prism are very good at updating the training documentation. So you can be sure that when going with an authorized training partner, you're always going to get the relevant training for your exam.
No, yes, thank you. That was a sort of good and thorough answer. How are you getting on, Arun?
Rob, I'm trying to bring up a sample question. Give me a moment.
That's fine. We've got one other question I'll slip in, which is the question is, if for Blue Prism, is there a community edition or a trial version that can be used for learning?
No, unfortunately, Blue Prism have not got that yet. Although, I have heard it on the Vine that there might be something coming up. So I guess we'll wait and see. But as of right now, no, there isn't.
Okay, well, we're in our closing few minutes of the webinar, so nothing like a bit of pressure. But Arun, are we good to switch over to you?
Yeah, Rob.
The screen is yours.
Yep. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yep, we can see that.
All right. So this is one of the sample questions that that is available on the Blue Prism portal. So you can expect similar kind of questions in the exam. So this one asks you to the following object design has been created. The create orders processes uses the following actions: launch, login, main menu, logout, order details, create order. How many of the actions can be contained within the ERP business object will be consumed into memory when the create order process? So in this case, the action would be each action will be consumed into memory as it's called. So you will be asked a similar question. So let's move on and see another sample. So okay. So the following, this is another sample question. So not a lot of straightforward questions. You will be given a scenario and your understanding would be tested. like this.
And you only have a minute effectively per question.
Yes.
Yeah. That's that's a really good that's a really good example of sort of the depth of knowledge and experience that you need to be able to be ready for the exam.
Yes.
So no, thank you very much for the examples. We've unfortunately run out of time, but I do appreciate all of your input from our panel. Thank you also for filling in at short notice, as we had a sort of a last minute dropout. I think the information there was fantastic. We're going to share the information out on all the normal social media channels, so please do look out for that. And please do sort of follow us on newsletters and on the website for more information in terms of what's going on. Thank you, and with that we'll close the webinar. Thank you guys, and thank you everybody for listening.